Welcome in to the Important Nonsense Podcast, 32 teams in 32 days, Houston Texans edition. Today is the 5th of August. I am joined, as always, by Mike Manning and that FF nerd, Jason Draven. Pull the ripcord, Jason. Give the people what they want. There you go. That's
So excited.
Let's get
This is such a great day. Let's go.
It's really just a great day for you. It is a painful day for Mike and myself. Jason will be fireman carrying us for the entirety of today as we batch record these. And as keen students of how this works, we'll be noticing a lot of Jason today. There's a reason why he's here. Let's get all the PSAs out of the way. This is based on 12-team PPR for redraft. The point of this is to get everyone prepared for your fantasy football drafts that will be starting here later this month. This is obviously based around God's format. With that, all the ADPs and rankings you will hear come courtesy of Fantasy Pros and their ECR. Obviously, when we reference our own rankings, we will make sure that we do that for you so that you know. All the depth charts are provided by Player Profiler. Shout out to Jack Kavanaugh. Hope you're well. And beyond that, check out our Discord and our all of our other fun stuff at Fourthwall, fourthwall.com/importantnonsense. We would love to have you join our Discord. Please join the Discord and bother Jason with all of your screaming hot takes. He is very lonely, and he would love to talk to you. Beyond that, I guess we have no other choice, Mike, but to get into it. I know the only person happy about this is Jason. As I mentioned, this is the Houston Texans show. Let's get right into it with quarterback. CJ Stroud, rookie year. Not even going to bury the lead. I'm not interested. Mike, tell us, Jason, why should we be interested in CJ Stroud?
I mean, he is a quarterback, and I don't think he's going to necessarily start the first week, but
can't debate you on that.
That's true.
He's likely going to be starting at some point this year, so he is going to have value. They are going to be trailing a lot, which means he's going to have to likely throw a lot. So those are the benefits of him. Now, I don't really love it.
That also could be said about Davis Mills last year.
And he did just fine. He had some
That's
good
why
weeks.
I went to Jason, because Jason was about this life last year with Davis Mills. For those of you who were not around last year, that's why Jason's going to fireman carry me all the way through today, folks. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, super talented. I love Davis Mills. That's part of the reason I think that I won't be surprised to see CJ likely not starting the first part of the year, but Davis will, and then Stroud will come in and do his thing. Be completely fine.
Are you concerned by any of the camp reports that Davis Mills reportedly looks like death?
Well, I mean, that's the Houston Texans.
Early returns from camp. Davis Mills has lines that read like this: 5 for 12 with a pick, 4 for 13 with a pick, 6 for 14 with a pick. That's camp against the terrible Houston Texans defense. Are you worried about that at all?
No, not really. It's just camp.
Well, that should be usually the other way, where it's like it's really positive, but it's just camp.
Yeah, I'm more curious to see how CJ does with actual pressure,
That wasn't CJ's lines. Those were Davis Mills' lines.
Like I said, because, again, Mills at least has experience in the NFL. CJ does not. So that's part of the reason I'm more curious to see how he actually does in preseason, which we actually had a game. So that was really exciting.
Well, most of a game.
It counted.
No, it didn't. I went to bed.
You got to see
even the lights went
Anaconda,
out.
You know?
Yeah,
Anaconda. You pleb.
What? I like
no, it's Anaconda.
All right, I quit.
That's right.
You guys do the rest of the show.
But it's just... Oh, there he goes. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed that. I like having football back. So while camp is important, I do think that having the experience is a bigger step. So that's my kind of take on it. What do you think, Mike?
I mean, in general, I wasn't a big fan of Stroud coming out. So that's not he wasn't even like a sleeper type player, late in draft type guy for me, because I just didn't think his tape at Ohio State was. I'm not looking at the helmet. I'm not doing the helmet, scouting and stuff like that.
Yeah, not a great look, that's for sure.
Yeah, but in general, the things he did well, the deep, accurate passes, that's great. But also, his weapons are terrible.
Whoa.
Okay,
His weapons aren't terrible. We'll get to that, but
yeah, but okay, his weapons aren't great, in
Fair.
my opinion, and his skill set does not translate to fantasy very well. What I'm thinking, even with the deep passing, he's not a runner. He will run occasionally at best, and doesn't deal with pressure well. So that's not really my thoughts as a good transitioning rookie quarterback. I'm sure he can be a very solid quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion, but I don't think he's going to be a good fantasy quarterback in this system with these weapons.
with the lack of
At
an
least,
O-line.
yeah. At least, I mean, they got Laramie Tunsil and blank.
Correct.
They literally just lost their center for the entire year.
Yeah, I saw that the other day too. I was just like, oh, that's a tough one for him.
Which was probably their third best offensive lineman. So,
Well, they have to figure out how they're going to spend the money. I mean, that's why they got the rookie QB in. They brought in Dameon Pierce.
and they already screwed up their next draft. So, that's good.
Yeah. It'll be very interesting to see how it ends up going. So, big thing about that is he's pretty much free. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I'd rather just pick him up. I wouldn't
I don't
draft
even
him.
think it's
I don't think
super
it's worth it.
flex.
I don't even
I'm
think
back
it's worth
from the
drafting.
penalty box.
Well, I
The
know
rule,
you got
the rule here is if you mispronounce a name, you have to spend 2 minutes in the box, and even I am subject to the rules. The
I
rules
was
are
gonna say, I went to
unflinching.
Pitt. I know Israel Abanikanda
Yeah.
very well.
That's why I was like, I'm pretty sure I said that right. So.
Like I said, you know the rules. You mispronounce a name, you go to the bin. 2-minute penalty box. I'm not exempt from the rules.
Well,
Well, now you've learned. So congratulations.
nobody-
I didn't learn
nobody's above
anything.
it.
I've learned nothing. Don't tell me what I've learned and haven't learned.
Well,
Uh,
I think we've wrapped up the QB because I do think. Well,
Well,
I guess it's more important.
I'm
think
still
Davis Mills is
allowed
starting
to
at all?
listen from the penalty box.
Oh,
So
okay.
I will just couple comments. His weapons are terrible. You don't need to requalify that, Mike. You're correct. You can just double down on it.
They're decent. You saw how well Nico Collins did last year. I mean,
Yeah, that's reiterating what I was saying. That's literally exactly what I was saying. It's just how bad it was.
Decent gets you in the penalty box as well. The only thing I was going to say about CJ Stroud is let's do it formally here. He is, to your point about pretty much free. He is being ranked as the QB 28 because they are baking in some of the idea that he's not going to start the season right away. 213 overall, but he's being drafted, so his ADP is 172. So that would be something like a 17th round pick. It is what it is. It's my argument would be that I don't even think he should be drafted. That's what I think is a more appropriate.
If you're not in a
for-
super flex league, he should not be on the draft board.
Right. I don't think he should be drafted, and I don't think Davis Mills should be drafted either. They've got that right. There's no ADP for
Well, I don't care how deep your league is. You're not drafting Davis Mills.
Yeah. So my only comment to that is I don't think Stroud in a super flex league. I might concede that to you. If somebody wanted to take him at the end of the draft for that, sure.
As a
But this is all based
QB3.
on redraft. So he's being drafted at 172 overall in redraft leagues.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Can't
what's
do
the
it.
point of that? So he's not going to start. So you're going to stick him on the end of your bench, right? And then how many weeks of that are you going to endure before you just cut him out of frustration because of injuries and you need to pick something up off the waiver wire? You know what I mean? What's the point of
How much
drafting
upside
CJ
do you
Stroud?
see there? That's the point of your late round picks is getting upside guys. How much upside do you see with a CJ Stroud? In my opinion, not very much.
He's going in Kyler Murray territory, where it's like, at least if you were
I
going to
would-
do that,
yeah.
I've seen
I would
Kyler
much rather
Murray
that.
play football before. At least there's something there. It's not pretty, but it's something. So
And he
that's
runs.
the only.
we'll see if he actually runs this year. But normally he's a
Yeah.
kid with
I
candy.
mean, you can go back to the Arizona Cardinals episode to be able to go through that, but
Sorry, Jason's hand gestures the last week have been very inflammatory. We're gonna get these hand gestures are gonna have. We're gonna get NSFW tagged on YouTube. Like it's gonna be 18+ episodes just on that. Oh my. Okay.
all right,
I think we're
back to
all
the real
lar-
players.
I think we're all loosely in agreement that don't let someone else burn a draft pick on CJ Stroud if they're gonna. Don't draft CJ Stroud. If you want to pick him up off the waiver wire at some point, I don't really
Sure.
care. That's fine. Like, if your team is as such that you want to do that, go ahead. But yeah, don't. This is not worth a draft pick. Let's move into running back. Let's move into things that are actually draftable. So we kind of teed it up a little bit. They still have Dameon Pierce. I heard you guys talking about it while I was serving my stint in the penalty box, rightfully earned, by the way. And Dameon Pierce, darling from last year, like very, very much an in-demand thing. I still can't fathom out why. Although he was broadly efficient before he got hurt. He got a decent amount of volume. He was reasonably efficient. He's just not my cup of tea, Mike. The old Dameon Pierce. It's just not my type of player. It's just not something and on a bad offense, but
The battering ram on a bad offense.
yeah. And then they have Devin Singletary, which is still
A
interesting.
thing.
And then apparently. And then they have Mike Boone. Perennial Denver sleeper Mike Boone. No longer Denver sleeper Mike Boone, now on the Houston Texans but Dameon Pierce comes in 22 overall, which would translate to running back 22 translates to about 54 overall if you're going by overall ranking. Being drafted at about 45. So the public is all back in on Dameon Pierce. They have learned nothing. The public has learned nothing. They are right back on the horse for Dameon Pierce. And then Devin Singletary, we were having this in the pre-show meeting, and I think I nearly caused Mike to have a seizure by letting him know that Devin Singletary, by ranking, RB 43, which would translate to about 125 overall. We could talk about that. His ADP is 136 overall. There you go, Mike. So yeah,
I mean,
it's better than his ranking, but he's being drafted.
that's the insane part. I don't understand the concept of drafting Devin Singletary in any way whatsoever. Like, he was on the Buffalo Bills, obviously, before, and was still barely draftable then. So now we're going to put him on a much worse offense with a rookie quarterback, bad offensive line, and with it being the RB2 instead of RB1, and we're going to be like, yep, we should still draft him.
11th round pick, no less.
In a similar round, yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean that's generally the range he was going at last year. So
I mean, he was efficient last year with what he got.
that was because Josh Allen got hurt.
It still counts, unfortunately. When it comes to fantasy points, it still counts.
I'm pretty sure over half of his touchdowns came in the final 6 weeks or 5 weeks of the season after Josh Allen got hurt and they were getting ready for the playoffs. So why in the world are we at all thinking about Devin Singletary? Especially because even Dameon Pierce was the workhorse of all workhorses last year, even as a rookie of a 4th-round pick.
I mean, he was solid last year, though. He ended as RB27 with missing 5 games.
Right. I was going to say that you got to bake in the actual injury into that. So
I know,
Yeah, he had like
I'm pretty sure to add it, but
he had like 13 games and he had 15 plus carries in all but 4 of them. 15 plus rushes as a rookie, 4th-round pick on a bad offense. That's pretty good. He was. I mean, I know it's a new coaching staff and everything, but it's also a very run-heavy coaching staff coming in. It's a San Fran style coaching staff that we're working with here. Bobby Slowick is going to definitely use a run-centric and intriguing offense in general, in my opinion, at least. So I'm all for Dameon Pierce. I am not thinking about Devin Singletary in any way whatsoever.
I think that the people who are drafting him are probably thinking that he has a chance to overtake Dameon Pierce because he does have the experience. He's been doing it for a long time, and having the opportunity to be an actual workhorse does make him appealing. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's how it's going to work out. I do think it will be an injury that will need to happen for that to happen, but that's the only reason I can understand why he's being drafted.
I mean, at least I would only at best before your kicker and defense type pick, not 11th round.
Yeah, well, a lot less upside there.
Let's do this way. We'll start with Dameon Pierce, and I'll be clear. I actually don't really have a problem with the ranking of
It's
where
an
of
ADP.
54 overall, that's more or less fine. I would be okay with that. I'm not going to be like thumping my chest about it, like, yeah, look at what I got. But I could live with it. It's the ADP because let's play a little quick little name game here. Aaron Jones is going to 41 overall. Aaron Jones or Dameon Pierce?
Aaron Jones even like a round, 2 rounds ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Jones is fine, yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs, who I think is being overdrafted.
He is being overdrafted, but still Gibbs in a heartbeat.
Even for me, who thinks he's being overdrafted. We'll change positions. Drake London.
That one's close to me.
Yeah,
I might
closer.
do Pierce there, just based on the drop off after Pierce for running backs, in comparison to what you're going to get with wide receivers after Drake London.
Yeah, that's it's close, but I still like PPR. Man, that's what's getting me.
Yeah. Pierce is not
he's
going
going
to
to see a
catch-
lot of target. Well, he did catch. He had 30 some odd targets last year.
Yeah, but I
So-
don't think that they're in general going to do much when it comes to running backs for the passing game. Will he get something? Of course, but in terms of having a boost in PPR, it's not really going to have much of a boost for him.
Yeah,
But it's just like I said, it's the drop off in terms of wide receiver
compared to
and then running
Well,
back.
And then let's do it this way. So if we stick with running back, would you rather have Pierce, or you could wait an extra round and get guys like Miles Sanders?
Oh, Sanders.
Yeah, you could wait a round and get
Yeah.
Miles Sanders.
If I get the round boost, definitely Sanders.
You could also wait around and get James Conner.
Oh, real? Wow.
Yeah. A round later, you could get James Conner.
Easily.
You could also wait around and get Alexander Madison. I'm less excited about that, given the
Yeah.
injury especially. But my point to you is, why am I think and then you could wait 2 rounds and get DeAndre Swift. Like,
See, but that's the
that is the drop
value
off.
there, yeah.
That is the
That's the
drop
big
off.
drop
Look,
off.
I hit my high point with Connor and
Right.
and Miles Sanders. Those were the two that jump off the page at me, where it's like, I can get a round discount. Wow, and
Yeah,
then do
that's
that.
definitely
That's
true.
what I would rather do. So Pierce, look, if he falls in your league, I don't really have a problem with the player. And then I think we all pretty much largely in agreement. Don't spend an 11th round pick on Devin Singletary.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
That's a
like I
waste of
said,
time.
Like I said, don't spend a pick on Devin
Yeah.
Singletary. But
Yeah, especially not an 11th round pick though, where you're talking about at that point you're talking about like meaningful backups on your team, players that you will use.
yeah,
Like-
go for like a rookie wide receiver or something at that point rather
well,
than
I was like, we should just move into wide receiver at that point, right?
Yeah, you're talking about like,
Nico Collins.
I mean, well, forget
I would take
that.
Nico
like,
Collins in a heartbeat over Devin
so
Singletary.
would I, but you could even wait significantly later, like to get Nico, like 10 whole picks later. If you want to stay in position, you could get Devin Achane. That's
Not upside there.
Much more upside.
much more upside. Like,
And that's the point. If once you get to the double-digit rounds, you want upside. And that's it. You aren't getting safe picks in
Yeah.
the double-digit
could-
rounds.
you could wait 10 whole spots and get Donovan Peoples-Jones, who I would much rather have, who's proving to have been at least wide receiver 3 level. Like, that's a
Yeah.
thing that I might start at some point, whereas I will probably never start Devin Singletary, and he will just rot on the end of my roster.
Yeah,
And-
unless there's an injury, you're not touching Devin Singletary.
If
Yeah.
we go into wide receivers, there's 3 wide receivers being drafted. They've got other wide receivers. They largely don't matter. I mean, but you've got
We'll get
Nico
to that.
Collins. We'll go through it formally, but you've got Nico
Yeah.
Collins, who's by ranking wide receiver 52. That would translate to about 121 overall. ADP of 146.
Yep, all day. I'll take that
You
all
are
day.
getting a deal, at least on by ranking. You are getting a haircut on that. I personally don't like Nico Collins. I don't stone hands and just bad team, and I will probably not roster much of it, even with the discount. But I will say I wouldn't be looking at you with a side eye if in what is that, the 12th round, you were able to get Nico Collins. You're talking about
Like I
getting a
said.
starting wide receiver. Like,
Yeah, Much rather him over Devin Singletary in that range.
Yeah, Devin Singletary 10 picks earlier.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'd be okay if you wanted to wait 10 if you were going to wait 10 whole picks and then get Nico Collins. That's fine with me. And then back from missing his entire rookie year, John Metchie, wide receiver
So
77,
excited.
translates to 195 overall. That's Mr. Irrelevant territory. He is being drafted at 190 overall.
A lot of upside. Love it.
I don't necessarily agree with a lot of upside, but there is some level of upside because he will be playing.
He says
So
he
he'll be
feels
out
better
there.
than even before college.
Yeah.
So there's that.
What's funny to me, though, is that I added it onto the sheet for a reason. Robert Woods is technically the wide receiver 2 on this team. Wide receiver 73, 233 overall, ADP 262. Not even close to being drafted. Nobody wants to get back on the Robert Woods train after what he did last year. I get it. He's getting old. I
He
understand.
was on a Titans offense that was not exactly the most pass heavy or exciting last year, especially with Malik Willis having some reps.
Yeah, that was bad.
So injuries too. He's over 30. Like, we're not getting a lot of good tallies here when it comes to Robert Woods.
I understand, but my point is people getting all excited about Nico Collins, who never met a pass he couldn't drop, and John Metchie, who we have yet to see do anything. And obviously, that's not his fault. The man had cancer, which he is now recovering from, which is good. Nice feel-good story with John Metchie. They also have Nathaniel Dell, which is
that tank. That's the guy I'm looking at, like, as a keep your eye on the waiver wire type guy. Yep. I am all for a Tank Dell as, like, somebody that's going to make a name for himself quickly.
And no ADP, so you are correct about waiver wire. No ADP for Tank
exactly.
Dell.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, don't worry about drafting him. But, like, as soon as your draft is done, go to the free agent thing, waiver wire, and just, like, click the watch.
Where you cut just keep CJ Stroud. Yeah. And then go pick up Tank Dell. There you go. That's how you do it. Man.
Yeah, because if the quarterback's not going to be good, obviously the wide receiver is going to play well. But in general, I think that Tank Dell is a great talent. I think he has huge upside for obviously being a waiver wire type player. So if we're like, I don't think Nico Collins is anything great. He obviously has not shown much of talent, like much of his production yet. Robert Woods, as we had said, he's old, been injured, not productive in the past couple of years. So John Metchie returning from his cancer stint, which glad that he's back, glad that he's feeling great. But I think that Tank Dell being the highest of upside when it comes to any of these wide receivers.
Yeah, I mean, he's your deep shot, especially with Stroud. So I get that, but man, I still think that Metchie's worth that pick more than anybody else. Like, that's a great value.
Metchie will be number 2 for me. That's for sure. Yeah, Metchie will be like, at his ADP and stuff. I am okay with that. I am not touching Nico, really.
Even at that ADP,
Woods.
I don't.
That dude is a consistent number. I'm going to say he's probably going to get you 10 to 13 points a week.
By the time we've made it to the 12th round, my wide receiver room is going to be pretty fleshed out, and then there are other dart throws that I like more.
I think there's higher upside picks at that round.
You're talking about for the same amount, for the same rough pick, I could have Donovan Peoples-Jones, who, like, I'd much rather deal with that.
Yeah, much rather him over.
But again, it depends on the type of play you're looking at. So, or I guess manager, because at that manager, like the person who is playing fantasy football.
So good managers then.
Woo!
Sure. But the reason
you're not working with Mike Berlin today, Jason. He ain't gonna be nice to you about it. Like, I don't come right for the throat.
Because again, Nico Collins is going to be that consistent number for you. DPJ can get you a 2, or he can get you a 25.
When was DPJ getting you a 2? That was the whole damn point. Was that he had worked his way into a consistent 13. That's why he was rosterable.
Yeah,
that was the whole argument for DPJ.
Target for a while.
What are we doing?
And if he is that again, that's going to be great. But they've brought in.
What would lead you to believe that he's not going to be that again? You're gonna sit here and talk to me about.
I don't like Cooper, but he's still going to see a lot of targets, and
that's where you went. I was waiting for Elijah Moore. Yeah. Like, you went the classic Jason. I expect him to turn left. He turns right. Like, it's the way that goes.
Yeah, give me I'm taking much below Nico Collins at this point for ADP. We're going Jalen Hyatt even. I'd take him.
Oh, that's an
Getting a lot of
interesting
hype
one.
out of- getting a
We'll
lot
do
of
that
hype
later.
out of-
That's on a different show. That's an
Romeo
interesting one.
Dobbs, DPJ. Give me even Jaden Reed.
Jaden Reed was
Yeah,
one we
no.
talked about on the Packers show. That was one that I'm interested in because it's the movie that I haven't
Like I
seen.
said, I'll take John Metchie over Nico Collins, especially at ADP.
Yeah, that's just again. It depends
Because
on the
we're
player,
going
clearly.
several rounds later.
Right. Are we? So Jason, is Nico Collins going to be your new Brandon Cooks flag
Yes, that's
plant
exactly
guy?
why.
That's where we're at.
That's exactly why.
Oh, let me
Because he's
ask
going
you
to
a
see all the
question.
targets.
Just
I'll ask
Eddie-
you a straight question then. Where is Nico Collins in your rankings? Let's do this way. That will end this conversation.
29.
Did you say 29?
He did
Yeah.
say 29. That wasn't a typo. That wasn't your internet didn't break up.
He is a high-end wide receiver 3 for you?
Because of
Wow.
all the volume. That's a big part of it.
What? We're not guaranteed any volume. I think
based on how often they have thrown, like I do my rankings every year. I do it based on how often the team throws, all of their stats over the past 5-6 years, and then who I think is going to be the number one, and he's getting that target share. So I am
Okay,
seeing
here's a
139
fun
targets.
game that we're gonna play real quick. Michael Pittman or Nico Collins?
easily Pittman.
Yeah. Let's see here. Christian Kirk or Nico Collins?
Easily Kirk.
Tyler Lockett or Nico Collins?
At least Lockett has the much more upside there because you're going to get the boom in bad weeks, but like you're going to get the boom weeks.
Brandon
I don't see
Ayuk or Nico Collins?
Collins, it's not close for me.
Oh my
Wow,
God.
Really?
I hate Ayuk.
Oh
done it
my
over and
God.
over. I absolutely hate him every year. It doesn't matter. I don't like.
Why do
him
you
at
hate
all.
talent? Why do you hate players that are good at football?
So we're picking a first round, or we're picking over a first round pick on a good offense with a good coach with a probably better quarterback, honestly. Over
It
the
depends on
fifth,
who
I
they're
think Collins.
Mike
was like a fifth-round
Williams
pick.
or Nico Collins? Yeah.
Still
Yeah.
doesn't-
No, hold on. That's for Jason because I'm doing that deliberately.
Yeah.
I'm short circuit his little brain here.
I know it's consistency though, man. I'm pretty sure I have Collins higher. Yeah.
I'm sorry. We're going consistency here.
On Nico
So-
Collins. Okay. Mike Evans or Nico Collins?
Yeah, they're right next to each other. I have Nico and
What?
Williams next to each other.
Yeah. This is why we're doing this.
Mike
This is
Evans
why we're
has had
doing
1,000 yards every single year.
every
of his
single
career.
year of my adult life.
Uh-huh. And I
And we're
have
still
him
gonna
4
go
spots
with
behind
the-
him. 33.
Jahan
Oh, Evans is
Dotson,
behind him. Okay.
your other boyfriend. Oh, behind him. Okay.
Gotcha.
Last one. Jahan Dotson, your other boyfriend.
He's not a wide receiver 3 to me, so based on the rankings
What does
I have,
that mean?
he's at 40.
Okay.
So he's a flex.
Still, but I've learned to ask this question over time. You know what? We'll do one more just because we got a couple extra minutes here because we only have one player left to cover. Brandon Cooks. yeah. We're gonna do it.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nope. It's
Look at the
still
smoke
it's still
pouring out.
Collins.
Still Collins. Jeez. Do
Wow.
you just have a love affair with the Texans? Number one wide receiver?
This is why he's here today, Mike. That's why I made sure Jason had to be on this show because
I mean, I have never understood anybody like loving the Texans wide receiver 1 that was not named DeAndre Hopkins.
I'm still reeling over Nico Collins over Brandon Ayuk. My brain just shut down for a second. Like I was like blue screen of death. Like it. Wow.
got a 404 code or whatever.
Yeah, for real. Okay. I'm glad we played that little game. That was very illuminating.
We're learning a lot about Jason.
We are
that
learning a lot
already
today,
knew, but
folks. The running back takes were very tame. The wide receiver takes made a whole, like I said, you expect him to go left. He goes right.
I thought me saying Tank Dell was my pick out of the room was weird, and then all of a sudden we got
No.
Nico Collins over Brandon Ayuk and Mike Evans.
You thought you were going to jump the shark, and then he just jumped the Meg. A much bigger shark. It's unbelievable, the shark that got jumped there.
I am so
For the
excited
record,
for
folks,
Emilio.
I will be rostering virtually none of the players in this show. Like just virtually nothing. Maybe John Metchie at the end of drafts or something like that. This is not attractive to me at all. Dalton Schultz is now on the Texans. Didn't even have to leave the state. Just had to go about 4 hours down the road. Comes in at tight end 11, 136 overall is what that should translate to. He's being drafted at 119 because his last name is Schultz, and he was on the Cowboys. I will not roster
and produced
Dalton
on the
Schultz.
Cowboys.
I don't care. Yeah, because
I'm actually
Dak,
fine
as we
with Dalton
covered on the
Schultz.
Cowboy show, Dak needs a safety blanket, whether it's Jason Witten or whoever. He always finds a safety blanket at the tight end spot, and he loves those little dump offs. This ain't the Cowboys. Dak is not the quarterback, and I'm not interested in spending a 10th round pick on Dalton Schultz when 2 rounds later I could get Greg Dulcich or Cole Kmet or whatever. I'm not interested in Dalton Schultz. He's going to be a hard pass for me, just like most of this team. The only thing I'm interested in rostering on this team is some of the dart throws Mike was talking about, where it's like John Metchie at the end of your draft, maybe Tank Dell off the waiver wire. Actually, that's pretty much it.
I was
Going
say,
by my rankings.
Your list is not going to be
At
very
ADP,
long
yeah,
there.
those are the two you want for sure.
Yeah, like I like Dalton Schultz. I think he's going to have a very solid season, but I think he'll probably lead the Texans in receiving touchdowns. Even not saying a whole lot, but something.
Those 4 touchdowns that he's going to get are
based on ADP though. I don't think he's worth the price, as you had said for like Dulcich. Even looking at like Higbee several rounds later, there's other players that at that point of the draft, whenever you're looking at the dart throw tight ends, Schultz is not exactly the guy that you're going to be like excited about.
We've covered a lot of tight ends that are much better placement.
Even
Right.
Jason is not going to start like thumping his chest about Dalton Schultz. Got to get him. Like,
no.
Give me a
okay.
Conquo or something.
I've learned my lesson on trusting Houston tight ends. We're not playing that game again.
We're not going to talk about Brevin Jordan
Nope.
again. We're not going to go through that. Okay, good.
Yeah.
That'll make this show easier to wrap up, actually, because to be honest with you, we've already jumped several sharks on this show, which is just illuminating. This show has been a fascinating learning experience, hasn't it? It has been.
There's been a lot of fish metaphors here that we've been using.
I got
shark
a few
stuff.
more. I got a few more. I could probably get a few more out here. But before
I still just want to see the Meg 2. I'm excited for it.
There we go.
It's going to be out. I'm so excited. No, not
all right.
not a fan. Okay.
No, it's not even so much that. It's more I figured you were going to go with like Sharknado 4.
No,
or,
I like the Meg. Meg was solid.
Sharkpocalypse.
Yeah.
No.
Shark versus giant octopus. I could go through all these. Like, there's a
Any
million.
of the sci-fi
Asylum
movies.
makes like 10 of these a year. Like,
I know, but I like that one because of the fact that it has moments that it reminds me of Deep Blue Sea. Like they've
you're the
shown
only
some.
person who remembers Deep Blue Sea fondly. Like, that's.
I was gonna say that wasn't exactly like a cinematic.
LL Cool
masterpiece.
J. No, okay.
I mean, the song was great, but
I wanted to
You're
start
just-
yelling Samuel L. Jackson stuff,
That's what I
but
was
we're going to
thinking
get
too.
immediately banned. These have to go on YouTube, and I can't. Like, I'm really handcuffed here. Like,
we're
it's-
caring more about the shark movies than we are the Houston Texans at this point.
That's the
We've done-
correct response, because that's the correct thing to do. Jason's insane Nico Collins takes aside. Like, I'd much rather sit here and do a half-hour podcast on Deep Blue Sea,
Shark.
the Meg, all that. Like, I could have
all
filled an
the shark
hour.
movies not having any issues.
Yeah, I could go through all of that. And with that, I think that is the appropriate place to end this show. To be perfectly honest with you, because we have exhausted this topic. Any final thoughts? I'll go round robin here. Jason, singe my eyebrows off one last time. What do you got? Final thoughts on the Texans for 2023.
I mean, if you're in a Dameon Pierce, get him. It's kind of high for me. If he falls, great. That's a good option. But I'm still going with Metchie or Collins. It's like the only options that you're really looking at in your draft. So just how it goes.
Mike, be the voice of reason.
Yeah, don't touch any Texan unless Tank Dell does something early in the season on the waiver wire.
That's
or
that's-
preseason.
That's where I line up with this.
Sure.
Don't draft any Texans at their relative ADPs and price points. Just ignore it. If you want John Metchie at the very end of your draft, I don't care. Go ahead as your Mr. Irrelevant. Keep an eye on Tank Dell. Jason, he should be on the waiver wire show pretty much every week. And we'll see how that ends up winding up. And
we can sit there and have. I would actually even sit there and do a bet for Tank Dell having a better season than Nico Collins.
Oh, you want to take that bet, Jason? Take it.
Yeah,
I'd love to do it. Let's broker this bet right now as we leave.
Yeah,
What are the stakes?
that would be a good ending spot.
What are the stakes of said wager?
I mean, honestly, it doesn't even matter at this point. I just want to see. I wanted to see if Jason would even actually take that because I figured it was like an easy. Like,
It should be a
real
very
type
easy
thing.
bet to take based on his
Yeah.
rankings. Like,
Exactly.
pending
give me a
injury.
little-
Yeah, it's all good.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Pending injury, both can get injured.
That exactly. That's the at that point. There's no point in betting. If somebody gets hurt, it defeats the whole purpose of the bet.
Let's do a case of like a 6-pack of local beer.
That's fine.
okay.
Sure.
All right. Mark it down. 36 minutes on the show.
Yeah.
6-pack of local beers. All right. Tank Dell versus Nico Collins. Very, very interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have enjoyed this, please pop on over to our Fourth Wall, fourthwall.com/important odds and subscribe. Please sign up for our Discord, and then you can debate this lunacy with Jason and Mike. With that, we will be back tomorrow to talk about the Indianapolis Colts. Until then, just keep up the nonsense.
I'm Tim Kitzrow from NBA Jam and NFL Blitz, and you can find all the guys at ImportantNonsense.com. Kaboom!